Imagine a world where loyalty is a dangerous game, where love and vengeance collide, and where the line between hero and villain blurs with every decision. 16 years after the fall of Rome's greatest emperor, chaos rules the empire under the grip of two corrupt rulers. Amid this turmoil, a young warrior named Hanno and his wife Aris live quietly, until a deadly attack shatters their peace. What follows is a journey of heartbreak, survival, and an unrelenting thirst for justice. Hanno is pulled into the brutal world of gladiators, where his skill turns heads, but his rage hides a deeper secret. Who can he trust? What price will he pay to avenge the past? The movie's name is The Gladiator II, one of the greatest movies of the year 2024. Watch the full explanation and enjoy your screen, and comment below how the movie was. The film begins with a text explaining that 16 years after the death of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman Empire has fallen into chaos. His dreams of a strong and united empire have been forgotten. The city is in decline, and the empire is now ruled by two corrupt twin emperors, Geta and Caecula. The story then shifts to a young man named Lucius Vercellius, also known as Hanno, who lives peacefully with his wife, Aris Hat. Suddenly they see a fire nearby and hear loud noises that signal danger. Realizing an attack is imminent, Hanno and Aris quickly gear up and join their fellow warriors to face General Acacius and his Roman army. Before heading to battle, the couple wishes each other luck, knowing the risks they are about to face. The Roman army, led by General Acacius, soon arrives at the city walls. Hanno stands before his warriors and delivers an inspiring speech to prepare them for the fight. The battle begins in a dramatic and intense manner as the Romans breach the walls and fire hundreds of arrows, killing many of Hanno's men. Hanno and Aris fight bravely, showing exceptional skill and determination. However, tragedy strikes when General Acacius notices Aris fighting with her bow and arrow. He orders his soldiers to target her. Aris is fatally struck by an arrow in the chest, and she falls into the ocean. Hanno, devastated, watches in horror but is unable to save her. Moments later, he is also knocked into the water. In a surreal and supernatural moment, Hanno finds himself in a space between life and death. He sees Aris joining the ferryman, who is taking her to the afterlife. Just as she disappears, Hanno is pulled back to life, barely surviving. He finds Aris's lifeless body and bids her a tearful final goodbye. Not long after, Hanno and the surviving soldiers and citizens are captured by the Romans. They are enslaved and forced to march as the Roman army celebrates its victory. The once proud city is now in ruins, and its people face a grim future as prisoners in a cruel and unforgiving world. General Acacius approaches the twin rulers, Geta and Caecula, to show his respect and loyalty. As a reward for his dedication, he receives recognition and honor from them. During their conversation, Geta reveals their next plan to expand their empire by conquering Persia first and then India. However, Acacius believes that their priority should be improving the lives of Roman citizens. Geta dismisses this idea and denies Acacius any time off to spend with his wife. Instead, Geta and Caecula decide to organize grand gladiator games in the Colosseum. In these games, Lucius and his surviving companions are forced to fight for their lives in an arena overseen by Macrinus. As the games begin, the group is introduced to their opponent, a feral beast called the Baton. Faced with this challenge, Chief and Jabara, two of Lucius's companions, choose to die fighting rather than surrender. Lucius takes on the beast and fights fiercely. He bites its arm, wrestles it to the ground, and strangles it with his chains, ultimately killing it. This display of courage catches the attention of Macrinus, who watches from the stands. The next day, Lucius and the others are transported to Macrinus's residence. During a meal, Lucius is praised for his bravery in the arena. Afterward, they are taken outside, where Lucius meets Macrinus in person for the first time. Macrinus organizes a fight between Lucius and one of his best gladiator trainers, a fierce fighter named Vigo. Initially, Lucius is reluctant to fight, but after taking a few hits, he defends himself and manages to defeat Vigo. Impressed by Lucius's skill and determination, Macrinus engages him in a conversation. He senses a deep rage within Lucius and learns that Lucius is determined to kill Acacius. Macrinus promises to help him achieve his goal if Lucius continues to prove himself in the arena. Meanwhile, Acacius visits his wife, Lucilla, and expresses his frustration. He is disgusted by the sheer number of Roman soldiers being sacrificed for the twin emperor's ambitions, believing it to be a pointless waste. Back in the city, Macrinus takes Lucius to a party hosted by Senator THX. During the event, the senator organizes a fight between Lucius and another prisoner for entertainment. Lucius tries to convince the other man not to fight, but his plea is ignored, and the battle begins. After a long and intense fight, Lucius is forced to kill the other man, earning more respect and recognition from the crowd. After the fight, a figure named G approaches Lucius and questions him, trying to learn more about his origins. Lucius responds cryptically, quoting a phrase, "The gates of hell are open night and day. Smooth the descent and easy the way, but to return and view the cheerful skies, in this the task and mighty labor lies." As this unfolds, Acacius and his wife attend a secret meeting where plans for an insurrection against the twin emperors begin to take shape, signaling that not all is well within the empire's leadership. Lucius, along with his allies, is taken to the battle arena where the gladiator games are held. As soon as they arrive, the games begin. Lucius and the other gladiators are brought into the Grand Colosseum. Their challenge is to fight against an undefeated champion named Gaiso, who is known for his brutal tactics. The battle begins with Gaiso unleashing his pet rhino, which viciously kills one of the gladiators in a horrifying display. One by one, the rest of the fighters are defeated, leaving only Lucius and Gaiso to face each other in an intense one-on-one fight. Lucius, using his quick thinking, grabs some dirt from the ground, a move that catches the attention of Lucilla, who starts to recognize him. The fight between Lucius and Gaiso is brutal and drawn out. Gaiso initially gains the upper hand, striking Lucius repeatedly and knocking him to the ground. At one point, Gaiso is given the chance to spare Lucius, but he refuses and continues the fight. This decision turns against him as Lucius manages to outsmart and defeat Gaiso in the end. Lucius receives the signal to finish Gaiso, which he does, earning more admiration from the crowd. Meanwhile, Lucilla retreats to her quarters, where memories of the past flood her mind. She recalls sending Lucius away as a child to protect him and realizes with deep emotion that her long-lost son has returned. Lucius, injured from the fight, is treated by a gladiator doctor named Ravi. The two form a bond, with Ravi sharing his experiences as a former slave who earned his freedom in the games. At the same time, Marcus, another key figure, starts piecing together the truth about Lucius's identity. That evening, Lucilla visits Lucius and reveals to him that he is the son of Maximus. However, Lucius, still hurt from being sent away as a child, refuses to listen and angrily orders her to leave. He also blames Akas, another character, for the death of someone close to him, adding to his resentment. Lucilla confronts Akas and admits she failed to protect Lucius. She begs for his help, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. The next day, Lucius pushes himself to his limits, training for hours until he is completely exhausted. Ravi continues to care for him, and they have more conversations about Lucius's life growing up. Later, Lucius joins the gladiators for a naval battle, a dangerous event where the arena is flooded and wild sharks are released into the water as traps. Lucius demonstrates his strategic skills by leading his men to victory. He destroys the enemy ship's oars and crashes into them, securing a win. During the battle, Lucius attempts to shoot a crossbow at Akas, but narrowly misses, causing tension among those watching. However, the other gladiators cover for him, claiming responsibility for the shot, saving Lucius from suspicion. As events unfold, Marcus gathers evidence about Akas's plan to overthrow the emperor. When Akas is ambushed on his way to execute his plot, Lucilla is brought before powerful figures to expose their treachery. Meanwhile, Ravi reveals to Lucius the legacy of his father, Maximus. He shows Lucius Maximus's old armor and sword, along with the inspiring words, "What we do in this life echoes in eternity." The next day, the games take a dramatic turn. Akas, now disgraced, is stripped of his position and forced to fight in the arena as punishment. The crowd boos him as he steps into the arena. Lucius enters the battle and quickly eliminates all his opponents, earning the crowd's adoration once again. Lucilla watches in fear as the final showdown between Lucius and Akas begins. The fight is intense. Lucius initially gains the upper hand, but Acus fights back fiercely. In the middle of their battle, Acus reveals that he knows who Lucius is and drops his weapon, surrendering. Lucius is ordered to finish him, but before he does, Acus confesses that he truly loves Lucilla, Lucius's mother. Lucilla, along with her father Maximus, is caught up in a tragic series of events. Lucius, her son, refuses to execute Acacius after hearing the man's heartfelt declaration of love for his mother. However, GTO, a powerful figure, orders his guards to shoot Acacius with dozens of arrows, killing him in front of everyone. Lucilla watches in pain and despair. Seeing this, Lucius condemns their actions, addressing the crowd. He warns that if Rome treats its heroes this way, the people should expect even worse treatment. The crowd chants Lucius's name as he leaves. Later that evening, Macrianus visits Lucius in his cell to question why he spared Acacius. Lucius explains that he believes in leading Rome with fairness, but Macrianus disagrees. Macrianus leaves. Lucius vows to himself that he will see Macrianus' downfall. Meanwhile, tensions rise in the city as the people begin to riot. Gaeta, an important figure, insults Caracalla over their differing views on handling the chaos. Macrianus manipulates Caracalla in private, preying on his insecurities about always having to share everything with Gaeta. Macrianus convinces Caracalla to confront his brother, giving him a dagger. Despite SOA's attempts to stop Caracalla, Macrianus guides Caracalla's hand, slashing Gaeta's throat and ultimately beheading him. At the prison, Lucilla meets with her son Lucius to give him a ring that belonged to his grandfather. The two share an emotional reunion, hugging for the first time in a long while. Soon after, Caracalla ascends to the throne and makes a shocking decision. He appoints his pet monkey, Dandas, as his consul and elevates Macrianus to a position of even greater power. To solidify his influence, Macrianus presents Gaeta's severed head to the horrified senators, forcing them to support him as the leader of the Praetorian Guard. Macrianus later meets with Lucilla and boasts about his achievements. He reveals his plan to end the imperial bloodline by becoming emperor himself, fueled by his hatred of her grandfather who once enslaved him. Meanwhile, Lucius secretly visits his close friend Ravi and gives him the ring, asking Ravi to deliver it to a general in AA to rally an army for their aid. Macrianus' control grows. He orchestrates a horrific spectacle. He has Lucilla and other prisoners brought to the Colosseum, planning to force Lucius to defend his mother with only a wooden sword. Macrianus' goal is to incite a riot if Lucilla is killed, creating an opportunity to seize complete power. Enraged by the injustice, Lucius breaks out of his cell. Using the wooden sword, he kills Vigo and leads the other enslaved fighters in a revolt. Lucius retrieves his father Maximus's armor and sword from a private room, rallying the freed men to fight for their freedom. In the arena, chaos erupts as gladiators clash with Praetorian soldiers, and the crowd turns violent, defending themselves against stray arrows. During the turmoil, Macrianus uses a nail to stab Caracalla in the ear, killing him. He then fires an arrow into Lucilla's chest, fatally wounding her before Lucius can save her. Heartbroken, Lucius witnesses his mother's death and chases after Macrianus, who tries to escape on horseback. Lucius corners him just as two armies face off for a final battle. Lucius and Macrianus engage in a brutal duel. Despite being repeatedly stabbed in the chest, Lucius's armor protects him. Remembering his mother's encouraging words, Lucius finds the strength to fight back. He chops off Macrianus' left arm and slashes him in half, defeating him. With the fight over, Lucius addresses both armies, urging them to stop the senseless bloodshed. He reminds them of his father's dream of peace. Inspired, the soldiers lay down their weapons and chant in agreement. Later that evening, Lucius goes to the empty arena and kneels in the sand. Mourning both his parents, he speaks to Maximus, honoring his memory. The movie ends with Lucius's heartfelt tribute, leaving viewers with a message of hope and peace. Thanks for watching.